The Irishman is the latest, greatest crime epic from director Martin Scorsese. Despite what you may be inclined to believe, I've actually been watching this movie for the past 3 months because it's the only movie I've ever seen with a 3-month runtime. Alright, there we go. We got a joke about the runtime out of the way, so now we can actually talk about the movie. Now, the first thing I want to get out of the way is that this film is titled on screen as I Heard You Paint Houses, which is the name of the book that the film is based on, which I think is a significantly better title than The Irishman. But putting those reservations aside, let's talk about how great this film is. This is awesome. It has been a while that I have been watching movies. I'm sure it's been a while that you've been watching movies too. And I'm sure that when you see a 3.5-hour runtime, you are not exactly inclined to sit down and subject yourself to that. Well, let me tell you, this absolutely earned it. There was not a single moment in this film where I was bored. Sure, there were moments that were more exciting than others, but at no point did I think I want to turn it off. The story, well, being fictionalized, still hits pretty hard knowing that the majority of it is based on true events. And the brutality of the events just adds to how hard it is to watch this knowing that these people were real. I think what stuck out to me the most was the set design. This film covers many decades, and it feels very alive because of how the world transitions around these characters. The character in question, Frank Sheeran, is our protagonist, and we follow him through his life as he steeps himself into a life of crime and comes out on the other end with very little to show for it. Now, if your main cast consists of Joe Pesci, Robert De Niro, and Al Pacino, you are under no obligation to explain to me why I should watch your film. Sure, all these actors have been in crappy films where they've been handed crappy scripts. I'm talking Home Alone, I'm talking Jack and Jill, but forget about that because these guys together have some of the best chemistry of any actors on screen ever. I couldn't tell you how much of the dialogue in this film, how many bits and pieces of it are improvised, but the chemistry between these guys, when they speak, it's so raw, it's so natural, it feels like you're watching people have real conversations. These characters are believable, they're so full of life. And this goes back to the point I made about how I'm never bored with this film. It's because it's so full of life. Even when the characters are doing things that aren't related to crime or related to the exciting, big, explosive moments in the film, these little departures with trying to make their families work and how they don't work and they fall apart in the life of crime, these moments work because the performances are so strong. The conflict and character development is constant. And it would be impossible to talk about this film without mentioning the special effects used to render Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci, Al Pacino looking like younger versions of themselves. Now, at this point, I'm sure many people have seen someone using their own deepfake software to make even better and more convincing versions of the young gangster squad. But for what it's worth, when I was watching this movie, I was completely convinced by it. Knowing that there's a better version out there, sure, it makes the current version look a little sloppy, but when you're watching this film without that, you're fully convinced by it. I don't know anyone who would tell me that that was CGI if they didn't know any better. The cinematography is gorgeous. I had no gripes with that whatsoever. All of the shots were nice. I believe there was a single editing error that really bothered me where the audio didn't sync up with the cut. It was the only part in the movie where I felt that anything technical was off. I suppose if I could change one thing about this film besides the title, it would be that the final 30 minutes of the film could have been shaved down to 20 or maybe even 15, but they're still good, and again, I was never bored. They were just lower moments of the film. I suppose the film isn't horribly original either. It doesn't really offer a spin on the crime drama genre, but the delivery and the execution of everything here is just flawless. I thoroughly enjoyed this. It may be a bold claim to make, but I can very much see this being put up with Scorsese's best films like Goodfellas and Taxi Driver. So for now, I think we can give this one a 9 out of 10.